If you drive a vehicle and you have a combustion engine where you have a fuel injector, you want to listen to this video. Hopefully you can learn a lesson off of my expense, because I did not know you can get bad gas and go pretty much thousands of dollars chasing down a problem. If you have a fuel injector, you're going to want to hear this out, especially if you're running an E85 tune, because that's what I got going on right now. It ain't fun. So let's get into it. So what am I talking about? Basically, I am currently living through a hard lesson. And that's, as a matter of fact, where I'm going right now to drop off some money. As a matter of fact, $1,700 to have the fuel injector and the spark plugs changed out. Number 4 specifically, on a 2021 WRX FA20 2.0 liter engine. A little background in the car. We got the car in February of 2024, so just recently. It all started, I wanted to get into a newer platform, something stick shift, and something that would just be fun. I've been this Chrysler 300. It's a 2014. I've had it for a long time. It's my daily driver. We've paid it off for a while now, and it was just time to kind of get into something new and have some fun. My wife drives a Grand Cherokee, a 2019 Grand Cherokee, and we just decided it's time to get a fun family car. We're in the Motor City. There's a lot of car scenes out here, a lot of car meets, and just a lot of stuff to do with the family, and just get out and enjoy the weather with the cars, right? So that's basically what the main goal was. Obviously, I'm trying to justify the purchase. So we get to the dealership. The guy's telling us, knew the guy that was selling the vehicle right now, or the prior owner. I know. I should have turned around and right there called it a day. That's a typical sales tactic. I just wanted to see what they had. I was really interested in a Subaru. There was other cars in that price range. We were basically in the $30,000 range. And, you know, stick shift wise, manual, I was trying to get into some newer, and like I was looking at the Scat Packs. I was looking at a few Chargers and Challengers. Probably love one because I test drove a buddy of mine. Problem with those cars, which happened exactly to my buddy's cars, it got stolen midday, like Ferndale or something, right? So it's a really hot car out here. Here in the Motor City, they love those things. Anything Mopar, they love. See, my 300, I get it's Mopar, and the Jeep, but they're V6 who wants these cars, right? We decided to go a different route with something a little bit more unique. I know Subarus are not super unique, but it's just a little bit different around here. We don't see a lot of them. And the fact that it was an all-wheel drive platform, that would probably be really useful here in Michigan, because that's where I'm from and where we're at currently. Get to the dealership, tells us it's lately modded. Basically, he originally just told us it has a flex fuel kit, an AIG recirculator, and that was pretty much all that he knew of. And the front mount intercooler. That was most of what he knew that was on the vehicle. He didn't know too specifically what was in the car. So we knew there was something in the car, but nothing too crazy. It had low mileage. It was taken care of. And the thing that really convinced us, this was the biggest point of where we decided, like, yeah, this is probably a good deal, is there's another BRZ that got traded in with his wife. So it was his and her car couple. She had the BRZ. He had the WRX. They had two, and they ended up having twins. So it was time to change into a vehicle that could handle that. That pretty much was like, okay, well, you know, they were low mileage. Both the cars were in great condition, so at least they were taken care of. And it seemed like the cars were professionally done. And by that, I mean, had a pro tune on it from Fat Body Tuning in California. Just stuff like that. So it seemed like a solid, which it is. I'm not saying the car is bad. And, you know, this is all pretty much my fault, and I take full accountability because I didn't test the gas that was put into my vehicle, especially running an E85 tune. So we get the car. We are about 2 months, no, not even, it's like a month we have the vehicle, and I'm only driving it here and there because the weather is still terrible, right? Like, it's still February in Michigan. It takes a while for the weather to come in and actually start being nice like it is like right now, of course, when the car's gone. But we're getting a couple days in here. The kids love it. You know, the kids are having a blast. The wife is enjoying it. We're all having a blast with the car. It's great. We ended up having the first opening car meet out here for a local group, and it was just a good time. Ended up going on a date with my wife, and this was on a Saturday. This is why this is important. This was on a Saturday. Me and my wife decided to go on a date, and we dropped off the children at my mother's house so she could watch them. We go out, enjoy ourselves, and on the way back from our date, I decided, well, let me fill up, and I just ran 93, so my readings are like around 26% ethanol final, because that I have an ethanol sensor on the vehicle. Simply went out the way to a good area, because around here we're really close to Detroit. We are literally a mile away, so there's a lot of sketchy gas stations around here, and probably don't have the best fuel, which we sometimes even pass gas stations just for the normal cars. We understand that, you know, these sometimes it's old gas, and you can actually sometimes even notice it in your vehicle. Some gas stations you'll fill up and the car just runs better, and that's extremely noticeable here. We went out to Royal Oak, which is a better area known around here. They have nicer gas stations, and hopefully you can trust one of these, right? We fill up, I pull up, they have an E85 gas station or pump. I fill it up from a quarter to full, and as soon as we hop on the freeway, mind you, I'm telling my wife to specifically be looking at this, because I want to show you how it's reading everything and tuning and adjusting the car, or not tuning, but adjusting the car as we're driving on the fly. The ethanol reading starts dropping. It literally starts going from 26 or 24 to slowly 23, 22, 21, and I'm like, holy crap, is it ever gonna stop? And at some point it finally levels out at about 13%. And if you've been running an ethanol sensor, you will know that fuel, typical gas, around when I'm just running 93, and it's just been 93 in there, it's around 10 to 13%. That's usually what I'm getting off my sensor. Well, I knew immediately someone was up, and I knew that what I just got was an E85, because E85 would immediately start spiking me up to, sometimes they range from 50% to 70 is the best I have seen and got. I try staying away from the 50s. Usually if it's 60 and up, I'll put it in. It's got to be up in the higher ethanol readings. But anyway, you never get, around here, I don't know about where you guys live, but around here we do not get 85. That is not, I haven't seen 80. I haven't seen anything even close that high. The car's still running fine though. Here's the thing. There's a dam sensor, which some of you will know, and there's a feedback knock. There's all these kind of things you can monitor your engine, see kind of what's going on. I'm keeping an eye out on it. I'm staying out of boost. I am trying to stay out of wide open throttle. The car is running fine. There's no issues. It's almost honestly wasn't even acting like it's running on just regular fuel, because that's what I ended up putting in. Spoiler alert. It didn't feel, I thought maybe they put 93 accidentally in, and that's what I just couldn't tell. And the dam and everything is running fine. I'm getting no knock, which is, I know sometimes, but it's virtually nothing. Sometimes here and there I'll get a really low number of value, but it's typically nothing. I know that something was up, so I call Sunday morning. I wake up and it's just itching me, right? I'm bothered about it, and I know something's up. I'm scared because I know that I'm more than likely going to have some kind of issues, and I'm contemplating about draining the tank, which I should have done. I should have just siphoned the fuel out or drained it, but I didn't end up doing that, and that's probably why I'm paying for this mistake. One day I wake up and I'm starting to do some research on what can I do? What are my options? Is there anywhere I can report this? Is there like a hotline I can call? It turns out in Michigan, you have to call or file with the Michigan Department of Agriculture. That is who takes care of fuel testing and reports here. Call them, it just goes to voicemail. But the way their system works, which I thought was odd, but honestly, it's an extremely efficient system. I left a voicemail explaining the situation, exactly the address, what happened, what car, everything. Monday morning, I'm at work. Literally Monday morning, 10:30 or 11, so it was coming towards the afternoon. I get a call from a private phone number. I'm like, private phone? It might be a scam caller. If I got time while I'm running the machine, I might entertain him. It's a state agent from the state of Michigan who tests your fuel. She tested it, immediately knew with the test they had on site that she brought with her, she knew something was up. She goes, something's like, the fuel looks a little foggy or hazy, and we're going to send it out for lab results to kind of get more specific, just to give you a better answer, and we'll let you know what to do from there. I wait about a week, and I get the call. They say the fuel is just regular old fuel, and it's very important that they say regular old fuel. And I'm like, what do I do now? She goes, well, how much, whatever amount you paid, you can go and pick that up, and they should be able to reimburse you. I called him and let him know that the tests were bad, and the fuel he sold you was pretty much incorrect for what I was trying to purchase. Shoot out there, it's about 20 minutes away from work. Finally get there. The dude's pissed off at me. He literally is mad and angry at me that I called the state. I recorded the conversation just because my wife was wanted to hear and she was entertained by it. This guy literally was angry at me and said how I caused him all these problems now. And he's an Arab guy, and he's an older gentleman, so I was trying to be respectful. And I'm just telling him, like, listen, man, all I want is just my money back. You know, like, this is just I just got this car. I work hard. We work 12-hour shifts plus sometimes, and you know, this is something that I really want to take care of, and I specifically wanted to go out to you, and you pretty much fucked me. You know, you screwed me. And he didn't care. He's just, well, you know, that's not my problem. The distributor that. And my only issue is, like, you didn't even say sorry. Like, sorry you got bad fuel. None of that. He's just yapping about how he's affected about this and how it's his problem and how all this shit is going to happen to him now. If you weren't selling bad fuel or the incorrect fuel, you wouldn't be at this situation. Maybe start doing a quality check. Like, prevent that. It's called preventative maintenance. He gives me the money, wants me to sign that I received the money. So he gives me a blank piece of scrap paper. Put your name on there and put that I paid you $30. Okay, no problem. I did receive the $30 back. I got yelled at for it, but I got my $30 back. Pretty much that was that for a little while there. And the crazy thing is, it's about a week later, so I already ran through that tank. I'm being careful. Put a new tank in, like, filled up all the way. I think this time with 93, because I just wanted fresh fuel in there. So I just put 93 in there. As soon as I burn through about half that tank, the car starts giving me problems and idling, and, you know, just a whole bunch of issues. As soon as it's sitting there, it's like a specific type of, like, tick, 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 tick. Like, not a tick, tick, a frequent one, but a random, like, tick here and there in the exhaust, in the note, and you could just tell someone was up. When this first started, I was not getting any kind of cylinder misfire or any kind of codes, nothing. And it was just like I could hear it. The car was performing well, but I could hear it, and I could just tell something was up when it was idling with no load on the, basically no acceleration or no gas. It was acting funny. I'm like, all right, well, hopefully it'll just, you know, hopefully it's that, maybe that's bad gas now. And I don't know what's going on at this point, but I'm just hoping that hopefully we just burn this out. Like, hopefully this all resolves itself like everybody does. You know, it never happens like that, but we all hope that, you know, if I just keep going, it'll just fix itself, which never happens. I realized that there's an issue, and finally one morning, this is like 3 days later after I finally started noticing the idling is weird, which I was going to take it to the dealership and kind of have like an inspection done and just see what's going on. I can't even start the car in the morning. It's like cranking over. I'm like, oh man, this might be a Subaru thing. I know it's like cold right now because, you know, Michigan, but something's up. It's just not trying to fire up. And then I give it a sec, start her right back. I crank her over again, and she starts up, but it is rough, man. It is rough. It's running like off half the cylinders, it seems like, almost. I check my AP, my access port. It's showing that there's a cylinder 4 misfire because the check engine light never popped up, but the access point has, or access, point, port, whatever, AP, has a specific parameter that's apparently different than the car's check engine or computer that will go off and let you know. So I'm like, okay, this is weird. Let's take this to the dealership because I do not want to mess with this. The car's not under warranty. We bought it not under warranty. Just want to put that out there. And I was fully aware of this. It's modded. I get it. It's my risk. Whatever. I'm willing to take that gamble, which I'm gambling with right now. They take it to the dealership. They call me and say, hey, spark plugs are dirty. You should get them replaced, and a coil pack possibly. Well, coil packs are back ordered right now, so I can't get them for, I don't know. They don't know. They do the spark plugs. I go pick up the car at the dealership. $600 later, right? $600. I don't know if it's this pricing because it's a modified car. They don't want to touch it with a 6-foot pole, or is it that that's just their rates and that's how they're pretty much gapping people nowadays? But I could have bought a lifetime supply of spark plugs for $600. I'm happy if the car's running fine. At this point, I'm like, you know, at $600, just bite the bullet. It sucks, but bite the bullet, whatever. Just get the car. Get the car, starts up fine. I'm actually happy. We drive, it's doing fine. I'm like, all right, let me get to a gas station. So I finally go to a Speedway. The gas station, I can already feel like something's up. The idle is weird, super weird. Take the car back home. It's about a 15-mile drive. yeah, the car starts running awful. Like, it's still not as bad when under load, when you're giving it some kind of throttle, but it's just when you're idling, it's almost trying to just shut off on me at this point. So I'm like, okay, well, dealership clearly is not helping me out. Time to just hopefully find a more reliable mechanic or source that's, knows what they're doing. There's 2 tune shops in Michigan that are specialized or are very good with these cars, and that would be AKD, Accelerated Control Dynamics, and BCP, Boosted Control Performance, I believe. And I took the car originally to AKD. Pretty much told them what's up. They're super nice, super cool. They're pretty much like, car guys. We can all relate. A really important one with AKD, I told them 2 things. I gave them 2 tasks. Find me the problem of why the car's running like shit. And then the second one was, give me a list of the mods that are on this car. Please go through this car and find out what's on here, because the dealership told me it's lightly modded, and that's all I know. And I know it's got a tune on it, but that's it. I want to know what's actually on here. They call me back and say, hey, we got your list. It's the fuel injector, more than likely. The spark plug is fouled up again, which, funny thing is that the spark plug that's fouled is literally a brand new spark plug. I just had it done at this dealership, so it's spilling so much fuel in there at some point, or somehow, like, something's going on there it's black. Like, this spark plug is black, and I'll show pictures. There's gonna be pictures in there. They say, but they can't do the fuel injector because they don't have this tool for this type of engine. It's a newer type of engine. They don't, not newer necessarily, I know they have the newer engines, but this shop specifically didn't have the tool to get the injector. I believe they're press fit in there, so they're just a motherfucker to get out. It's just impossible without sometimes breaking them or breaking something. So they didn't want to risk that or take that gamble on my car, which, thank you. I appreciate that, and that's honorable. I really appreciate the fact that they know their limits and they know what they can and can't do, and they're just honest with you, and they'll charge you for what they can do, and they won't for what they can. Cool. Left them a great review. Took the car to BCP because BCP called them. They said they have the tool. They can do that, no problem. BCP is a Cub authorized tuner. They have a dyno over there and everything, and it's a nice shop, and they do quite a lot of business in Michigan, and they're pretty highly rated. So last thing that I missed out at AKD, they did a compression test, and all cylinders came in at 120 psi, so they were good. The compression is good, thank God, at least that much, right? Finally get the car to BCP Livonia. It's all towed over there on flatbed. They recommend a leak down test before I do the injector. They're like, listen, before we start doing this, we just want to be confident 100% that it's probably a fuel issue and it's nothing with the piston ring or anything with the cylinder walls, just to be sure. I'm like, fine, I'm already in for, I paid $600 at the dealership, and then I paid $300 at AKD, which $300 for actually diagnosing my car and actually, taking the time to go through and do a compression check and to give me a whole list of everything on my car pretty much, and it's just $300 I think is fair, especially in skilled labor and skilled trades. That's amazing. That's almost cheap. Excellent service. Highly recommend AKD. They're awesome people. Trust them. But anyway, we get to BCP. They do the leak down test. Finally got the results a day ago. It is 5% on the leak down test on all cylinders. So that's good. We got good results, which I was starting to get really nervous because I was like, what did I just buy, man? I'm like, what did I just get into? And my wife's about to say, oh, it's gonna be bad. But luckily, so far so good. They say it's injector, $1,700. They had to do the leak down test. They're gonna redo my spark plugs, do the injector. They've had it for a while now. It's a lot of back and forth. It's whatever. I'm more upset at myself, and that I take full accountability for all this, that I didn't test the fuel, that I pretty much judged the book by its cover and got screwed by it, because you should just test your fuel. The moral of the story here is make sure you're testing your fuel, because if you're just gonna gamble with it, you might get screwed and you're gonna be thousands of dollars in for it. I'm not done yet. I'm not even getting the car back yet. I'm going to just pay it, let them do what they got to do. Hopefully when we get the car back, I can actually get you some footage. The reason I just started this and on the road to BCP is I was thinking about it, like, After all the money that I just had to put into this, and it's still not, in the grand scheme of things, this is still nothing, right? Like, if people get tens of thousands of dollars deep into their vehicles, and I get it, this is like still not super bad, but I'm a skilled tradesman, man. I work, overtime, and we work hard for our living, and it's just it's a little bit of an expense, but it's not the end of the world. And I think that from now on, this is a hard lesson learned. And funny thing is, this car I'm in right now, 2014 Chrysler 300, this one I've had for a while now. I've had only 2 issues with it. One, which was, I'd say, is not my problem. It's the only issue I've ever had with this car after putting over 110,000 miles on it, or 20 now. The only issue I actually had mechanically with this car, the thermostat housing. And that was the only problem I can honestly say I had, and that was because it's plastic. It's super cheap, right? I mean, I literally was shocked when I got the part. I'm like, this is it? I changed it out at the AutoZone parking lot. I bled it in the parking lot. And running, literally, it took me 30 minutes, and it was not even. It was with the whole shenanigans. It took about 30 minutes pulling off to the side of the road, or pulling off to the AutoZone. Because as soon as I noticed the coolant was leaking, I actually ended up pulling into an AutoZone because I was like, I might need something here. That was the only thing that mechanically went wrong on me from that I'd say wasn't my fault, that just kind of failed. But what was my fault is that fuel pump. We all do it. We're all guilty of it, at least. Ran it down to the gas light and ran it down to E. Never actually stalled this thing out, but I did run it down on E. And then one day while I'm at work, I drive to work, try starting my car at lunch, and it's just cranking over, not doing nothing. It's probably best to save yourself $700, because that's what the dealership charged me, $700, which I could have probably done it for half of that. But I went to the dealership with the car. I just didn't want any more problems, which turns out, fuck dealerships. We have fun. We all have fun. We break things, and then hopefully find someone that's going to give you an honest answer on what you need to do to fix that problem. That's really all I'm asking for. I'm about $2,700 in now from this bad fuel. This one fill up cost me $2,700. That's how much it costs. It is what it is. It's $2,700. It's a hard lesson learned, and I'm gonna live by it now. I'm gonna make sure telling everybody that I'm a firm believer in just getting your fuel tested and find a reputable fuel source. And what I mean by that is, find a tier 1, which isn't still always going to work out for you, because I'm pretty sure the one I went to was a tier 1 gas station.